everybody. Welcome back to America is here once again. I am D.B. Frick.
Millie Micheals.
Oh, it's like in harmony. Wow, we should take this on the road.
Woo!
We have a really nice poinsettias that were put out. We have some nice decorations for the holidays.
Yes, who does the lights at your house, Dan? Outside lights.
Do it all.
Me too.
I do it all.
Because my husband doesn't want to, so I have to do it.
I'm lying.
I'm in bushes. I got stuff all in, critters on me. It's rough. And then the lights don't work after you plug them in.
I lied to you. I don't put lights outside. I'm sorry, I lied.
Well,
It's Christmas, and I don't want to lie to everybody.
he puts the lights. I don't believe him. Anyway.
I'm lying to myself about this vest and how fitted it is.
Yes, but you know, in case we have to go overboard, you'll be okay.
No, I'll survive if
You'll
this is the
survive with
Titanic.
that. Yeah.
So what do we got in the news?
Well,
we got a couple
I
of
really
things going on.
just a couple of things. You know, I happen to see that mullets are making a comeback.
Of course they are.
They are. Back in 1980s, the mullets were so popular. You know, everyone would say, "Can we see the first picture?" It says, you know, they would say like business in the front and party in the back, y'all. You know, and everyone loved this. Now they have it that it's quarantine in the back, and hey, I found scissors and I cut it in the front while I was partying.
That's not a real mullet.
That's a mullet.
That's not a real
mullet. He looks
mullet.
good. He did a good job.
Real mullets are worn by baseball players from the Midwest and South.
Anybody in the 80s.
Anybody in the 80s. You were issued them if you were in the suburbs. You were issued a mullet.
Really?
Yeah, they just gave them out.
Isn't that a drink?
We have some. It is a great drink. I would drink that in a second.
Okay.
We have some pictures over here too. You got
Wait, I want to tell you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are parents that are very competitive. You know, their child does stuff better than everybody else's. You know, so one day I told someone that, oh, my son waved at 3 months old. I wasn't trying to be competitive. And she's like, oh, I don't want to burst your bubble. It's just that my son did sign language in the womb. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Well, here you go. Here's the picture of the sonogram.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what he's saying. I love you, something like that, but there it is. Okay, so my son, he's behind.
That could easily be blurred in
Next
such a way
picture.
to make it look like the middle finger.
Yeah. Okay, gonna be easy delivery. Thumbs up, mama. Everything's gonna be good.
I like that one. Yeah, that you can't really see anything in that.
Yes,
That's like a UFO. That could be a UFO.
You can see the thumb. Look at his eyes are bright. He's like the devil.
There's nothing.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry I said that.
It's not a sonogram.
Next picture. This child heard the dad. The dad wanted to buy a car, so he wanted the mom to see, hey, this is the car that Dad should get, Mom.
Someone obviously parked a Peugeot in someone's womb.
In someone's Peugeot. Next picture. I just had to throw this in there. You see the face? Okay? That's a sonogram of a testicular tumor.
That's horrifying.
He's looking to get out. Help me. Get me out of here. That's what I think about that. I just thought that was crazy.
If I was given that picture by a doctor, I would be so horrified. I would think, oh my God, there's a little person in me. I would just be horrified.
There's some people who have little people living like on their shoulders and
we also
eyes and
our crack research team.
Yeah.
Our cracked out
on crack.
Our cracked out research team.
Yeah.
They did some research this week and they found some old Winnie the Pooh original Winnie the Pooh cartoons from the book. And we have some of them like this is one, I wasn't going to eat it, I was just going to taste it.
That's me.
Sounds like something Bill Clinton would say.
That's me on Fridays with pizza.
Then there was another one, this one was also, A Day Without a Friend is like a pot without a single drop of honey left inside.
Oh, he's so cute.
It's a euphemism.
It's true. It's like when there's one Oreo left. Who leaves one Oreo?
Yeah, you just eat the Oreo. It's not
even worth it.
And then there's other ones that came up. This is great.
Yeah, what's this
Piglet's talking to Pooh, and Piglet's saying, why aren't you wearing any clothes?
Yeah, well, why he wears a shirt. I like when he wears a shirt.
Yeah, he just not going to wear anything.
Yeah, because now he looks naked.
It's weird.
He needs a bow, something. Come on.
Just a bow? Yeah, that would be great.
What's this?
And then he's washing him here. Pooh is actually washing Piglet. And he's like, if I'm going to eat you, I'm going to clean you first.
Well, you know, and you have to make sure there's no hairs. And when you put them on the spindle in the barbecue, you know.
They burn. They burn and they cook the skin too fast.
Yeah, too fast.
Then there's this one over here. How many feet from school did the judge say?
Yeah.
Because he's on probation. And either way, you should have worn pants.
Right, you have to wear pants.
You should have had pants on.
For so much anxiety, Piglet really knows a lot.
Yeah, well, at least he wears the same thing all the time, but at least he's wearing something.
And he's hanging out with a guy with no pants.
Yeah, who's like
maybe that's where the anxiety's
10 times the size of him, who might eat him.
Yes.
At any moment, he's a bear. He's going to eat a pig.
Yeah.
And this is them. He's like, you see, Pooh's got the itches. He's itching his head.
No.
And Piglet's saying, Pooh, I promise you, this guy gets the best heroin.
No. Now, why couldn't there be like just pot? Why couldn't they go cop some weed or go?
Because Pooh is into heroin. Piglet's only into weed. But Pooh's into heroin.
But he knows where to get the heroin. Just get him Oxy, and he'll go to sleep. And then he'll just go to rehab. But heroin is rough.
Heroin is a rough drug.
Methadone,
it's
not
a rough
good.
drug.
Yeah.
Then the next,
especially in the woods.
Here's one.
100-acre woods. I'm sorry.
Here they are. Pooh's got a bucket on his head, like Marlon Brando in some movie. And then Piglet's behind him with a stick, standing behind Pooh with a stick, and he's saying, "Okay, so count to 3 and then put it in."
Wow, I think that he's, it's not what you think, because you're like that.
I don't know what it means.
I think he's going to put the stick into the pail, and then he's going to spin it like they did like on the old shows.
That doesn't make any sense.
Like a Chinese.
It sounds like you're coming up with an excuse.
Maybe it's something to do with the temperature thing. Maybe it's...
There's a few more that when they were kind of, this was weird.
This is weird. I crapped in your pillow?
And
really?
Piglet's like, again?
Again? Oh my God, these people need to go find other friends.
And maybe if he wore pants... He wouldn't have done that.
Right, really, just Pooh somewhere else. Not in the pillow.
This one's my favorite one. They're reading 50 Shades of Grey. Grey is spelled wrong. And nobody ever wants to do that with me, Eeyore says. But Rabbit is like,
Yeah, I think he's thinking, well, we'll do something with you.
And you know that Tigger's into it. Tigger's into all that weird
Pooh's
stuff.
Just like, will there be appetizers?
Oh, well, yeah, and it's
Any
mostly
kind
just
of honey.
Any kind of honey
Oh,
appetizers.
cheese or honey. He's probably thinking,
He's the one that hangs out at the mall honey place a little too long. Then this one, the owl and Pooh's saying, can I borrow some shoes? I want to run to 7-Eleven quick.
Right, after the heroin. But the owl, who has short-term memory loss, will forget that that's where he wants to go, and it'll drop him in the water.
Right, and that owl has an acid problem.
He does? I thought he had dyslexia. I didn't know it was
dyslexia.
acid. Oh,
dyslexia.
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 What?
And this is my favorite one. Piglet's like to Pooh, your face smells like my penis.
Wow, that's
rough.
That is.
We're gonna get sued for that.
Oh my goodness.
One can only hope we would get sued for that during Christmas.
At least they look happy.
Hi.
They must be on the heroin, because that's crazy.
Hi, Santa. Santa, you want to know who's on the show?
Yes.
We've got some great guests. We've got Les Degen's on the show.
Oh,
comedian Les Degen.
Les Degen.
He sings a couple of songs. He sings your song, not yours.
Santa? The Santa song?
Yeah, no, not your song. The Elton John song. And then we've got the great Chris Roach, who used to be on Kevin Can Wait.
And he's so tall.
He's funny.
And funny.
So thanks for tuning in to Welcome Back to America. See you next week, guys.
Have fun decorating and getting ready, and Happy Hanukkah this
Happy
week.
Hanukkah, Merry Christmas.
Kwanzaa.
Columbus Day comes up in a few weeks, and then we've got New Year's. And then, of course, there's Martin Luther King's Day.
And
then in February, a couple of weeks,
Immaculate
Conception. And then you have Valentine's Day in the middle of February.
My birthday.
Then your birthday, my birthday. Then,
Your
like,
birthday.
a couple of weeks after that, it's St. Patrick's Day. Then we're by the middle of March. So what do we got after that? There's nothing in, like, March other than St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, there's plenty in March. My sister's birthday. I'll probably go to Vegas. I got a lot going on.
So watch the rest of the show. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to America. D.B. Frick.
Millie
Micheals. We did the harmony again.
Yeah, it was so good. We should make Tony and Marie. Let's do something with that.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm D.B. Frick. This is Welcome Back to America. And I have someone who is very funny, one of the best joke writers I've ever met. Writes perfect jokes, not something I can do. I do like stories, and he writes these great jokes. He's very funny, talented singer, and he's got a number that he's going to come out and sing for us right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Les Degen.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, D.B.
Yes. Good to see you.
Since you're so handsome and fun, this is for you. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those I can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, D.B., I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I were a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes potions in a traveling show. D.B., I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you. And you know what? You can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. See, you were named after Elton John's Daniel, but I don't know the words to Daniel, so this is my way of doing it for you, D.B.
I appreciate that.
A few of the words, well, they've got me quite crossed, but the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me for getting, but these things I do, I can't remember if they're green or they're blue. But anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, D.B., yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. I love you, D.B. No homo.
Yeah, I'd like to iterate that Les Degen is happily married for, I believe, over 40 years. So yes, that is bromance love. Actually known Les for like 20 plus years now.
Yeah,
That's
it's got to be 20 plus years.
I also want the audience to know that the Elton John thing stems from a joke that I tell on stage about how I'm named DB, why I use DB. And my first name is Daniel because of the Elton John song. But my parents were at an Elton John concert before I was born, and they were like, let's name him after the next song that comes up. And the next song was Rocket Man. So my father was like, yeah, let's name him Rocket Man. And my mom was like, no, we're not. We'll wait for a more appropriate song. So the song after that was Daniel. So that's why they went with Daniel. And B is for Barry, for the uncle who was shot dead in a drug deal with a shotgun. So it was almost, my name was almost Shotgun, my middle name, because he wanted it to be Shotgun instead. It's Barry. So joined SAG, had to go with DB. Anyway, Les.
By the way, that's my favorite Elton John song, and I've sung that many times, but the first time I ever sang it to a guy.
I would imagine. I believe I actually saw John, what's his name? That really gay male singer from the 70s. Not Julio Iglesias. I forgot his name.
Oh, Ricky.
Not Ricky. I used to work at Westbury
Ricky
Music.
Martin?
No, I used to work at Westbury Music Fair. He's from even earlier than
Barry
that.
Manilow?
From the 60s, no. Who I also did see live. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, Les, It is so great to have you.
Yeah, thank you. This is
so long.
This is
We haven't, I don't think we've seen each other in person since late February. We saw each other at a show live. That was very lucky that we got to see each other right before this pandemic started.
I guess it would have been like one night at the Belmore Bean Cafe. I would...
No, it was at a show in a bar out in like Amityville. I forget. There's so many, but it was a big place. I was there on a date, not a date with a friend. I was there with a friend, and it was a light crowd, but that was the last time I saw you, probably late February.
Oh, all right. Yeah, well, that would have been, definitely would have been in February, right? Before things happened.
Right. And that picture behind you is a perfect example of how things happen. And before we started recording, you mentioned how this is a great version of like the devil and angel on your shoulders, giving you
right, exactly.
Like it's really funny. If we wanted to just draw like horns on one and put a halo on the other, it would.
That would be that. But by the way, this is a photography by Les Degen.
Oh, it's a beautiful picture. It really is a great picture because
gotta throw in the plug for the daughter.
Yeah, no, that's great. It should be the cover of your comedy album. If you ever do one, it should definitely be with that picture. I think it's so self-indulgent too. It's great.
What would the name of the album be based on the image?
Talking to myself, laughing at myself.
No, you want to do it. No, you don't.
Yeah, something like that. Something very, very. I don't think of you in terms of mean, so it's hard to think of something that the devil version of you would say. Honestly, that's actually really hard because you're one of the nicer guys in comedy in general, the whole Long Island scene, and we both know a lot of people.
Well, thank you, but actually, we all have that dark side and that part of us, but sometimes the devil wins. But in my case, the angel in me always gets first dibs.
Right. Oh, I have no doubt that you're the Gilgo Beach Killer. I mean, I have no doubt about that. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
No, of course not. We first met doing some short films way back. It was a Artie Lang. We did a movie with Joe Brian Schell.
John and Sylvia.
Yeah, John and Sylvia. You were actually the husband of a woman who was apparently reincarnated into a living person.
Right.
And they come to your house and they reintroduce you. It's one of I'll always remember, is this some sort of scam? Every time I get spam, I think of you.
You were great. You played Roger, who was John's best man.
Right. It was fun. That was a fun short movie. I think it's still online. I think.
It's I've reached out to the director producer, and he says he's going to try to find it. The only thing that I can find online is the trailer.
Oh, and then there was like maybe a piece of a scene or something.
Yeah.
I might have a CD of it in a box right over here. I wish I could just pull out the box with the stuff on it. That would be, but I might. The slight chance. I keep all that stuff for some reason. To like, sometimes I just pile it on my bed and I cry with all my material, everything I've done.
That was interesting about that. That was actually the first short film I ever did. I'm mainly, my background is really in live stage theater, both musical theater and just regular plays. But it was actually the first, I don't even think I ever told anybody this, it was the first time I ever did a film like that where I had to say the lines over and over and over again. Okay, now let's do a wide shot, just the back of your head. Let's do it from this angle. So it's the first time I really got to learn how monotonous and
Oh, it can be. I've been on sets that were sometimes like 16, 17 hours.
right.
And real movie sets as an extra. I remember for fighting, I played like a Russian mobster in a boxing scene where it was like underground boxing, and it was with like a prostitute. And it was such a long day. It was.
I can see you doing that.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very.
I can see why you were cast as that particular character.
This guy loves prostitutes. We can.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me while I cough. I don't have corona. I didn't just give you corona. And I put on deodorant before I came on. I brushed my teeth before I came on.
Wait, hang on. All right, just have to wipe it off.
I have been doing this during conversations on anyway. Like, I don't know. It's just something that's happening. Have you been on stage at all since the pandemic started?
Since the pandemic, I have done. I did 2 outdoor comedy shows. One in a parking lot of a shopping center, which was actually fantastic because that was back in August, and I hadn't done a live show since February 28th, and it was exhilarating. There were like 40 cars in the parking lot. There were 4 of us, and as much as we were all pumped for doing a show, the audience was really primed for being an audience. And everybody just did great. And the funny part was the sound people they hired like a professional sound company that the people sitting in the cars, on top of their cars, in chairs next to their cars. And if you were in the car, they had like the radio station tuned so you could listen to it. And people were laughing loud and clapping. But for the people in the car, when they laughed, they would honk their horns.
That's great. Yeah. That's I would imagine having to change some timing because of that, because you're going over horns. You might have to change some of the timing of the comedy, but that's great. Who else was on that show?
Well, let's see. It was Alan Streisfeld was the producer.
It was also a great comedy writer. Just
dinner and comedy show. The lineup was Alan was the host. David Weiss, who's a phenomenal comic here on Long Island.
He's also a weatherman.
My good friend and one of the best in the business, John Santo.
I love John. He's done a few things on this show, actually.
Yeah, and actually I was lucky. I got to close the show, and John's not a picnic to follow, but it was good because it made me up the game. And then anyway, it was we all did wonderfully, and it was a fun night. So
yeah, that's a great crew. I'm glad you got to do that. I've done a couple of like backyard shows in Brooklyn, but only 2, and I don't want to do more, especially as the winter's coming. Right. It's just harder, and now we're going to get into something a little more cheerful. I want to know what got you on stage for the first time. What made you know you were funny? Is it something you had as a kid? Where did it come from?
It's interesting. I'm an only child of immigrant European parents. And ever since I recall, I don't know what prompted it, but I've always, really wanted attention, and been in the spotlight. I can remember being funny as early as kindergarten, where I would like make the other kids laugh and say weird things. Recently, I posted on Facebook, one of my classmates, who tonight at 8:00, I'm doing a Zoom session with all my classmates from kindergarten through 6th grade.
I would pay to watch that.
Right. And in the 3rd grade, I got my first 2 roles. We did a puppet show where we had to make out of paper mache puppets of like fairy tales. So I was the voice of the giant in Jack and the Beanstalk. And the reason I got cast was because I had the loudest voice in the class. So, and I still know the lines. If I fell from, I smell the bread of an Englishman. Be he alive, be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. I was off book almost immediately. And then also I was cast as the king of the fairies in Tinkle Bell and the Goblins. And so I had the king, the crown. So, and let's see what else. Then
I was also dubbed King of the Fairies for a few years while I was upstate at Clinton Prison.
Right. So for two totally different reasons, we both had the same.
An interesting thing to have in common.
Moniker, yes.
For such different reasons. When was the first time you got on stage as a comedian, as a stand-up? And do you remember the first joke you wrote or any inspiration around that?
You want to know something? I actually do. Now, I went to summer camp for many years. So at summer camp, I had a wonderful vehicle for just being in skits and doing funny things. And so that's where I went. As far as, doing it seriously, the first time I got up on stage as a stand-up was in 1979 at the comic strip. It was on an open mic Monday. You'd have to go to the comic strip Friday at noon and then pick a number out of a hat. They gave out 12 spots. And then on the Monday show, you would go up, and I did 5 minutes after so I guess I must have been late 20s. So I'd been procrastinating doing this for a while. And I actually did well. And I did well 2 or 3 times. And then the 4th time, I followed Jerry Seinfeld on a Monday open mic night. And even back then I was so intimidated, I changed my whole style and I totally bombed for the first time.
He was one of the guys that even in the late 70s, they were talking about wow, this guy's really good. And people were trying to emulate him even back then.
Yeah.
I watched recently, there's a documentary that Mark Binder did about the Comedy Store, 5-part documentary on HBO or Showtime. So good. The first couple of episodes are about the history of the 70s and coming up.
I haven't seen that.
It's really good. I'll send you a link concerning it. You might want to check it out.
What was the name of the woman that owned it?
That was Mitzi Shore.
Mitzi Shore, right.
And it's in large part about her and her death. And it's just great. And I love comedy history. So there's a market for that on Long Island too, because so much rich history in comedy comes from Long Island.
Sure.
So that in the 70s and 80s, Long Island was actually a very, very important place for stand-up comedy. And it still is too. More comedians come out of this suburb than any other suburb in the country. 100%, I would say. That's maybe that's a blanket statement, but we're the biggest suburb. Anyway, so I love that history. So you should definitely check that out. Do you remember the first joke you wrote?
I'm trying to think when that first time that I did comedy, it wasn't so much what did I wrote? It might have been I did a bit about being just friends. I was very shy around ladies, and I'd always wind up just, being friends, and I'd ask women out on a date, and, that we can just be friends. And I think what was the joke? women always say, well, I want to be just friends. And I go, really? Because I want to be just bleep, 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 something like that.
Okay, yeah. I would imagine, I'm just curious because I would imagine your material is so different from what is 40 years ago, I guess, something like that. So it's before you're married. So your material would be very different as it is now. Did you sing then too?
Also, interesting. One of my first bits, and I did it at the comic strip, I did it at Pips in Brooklyn, was I did a song parody of YMCA, which was relevant to the time. As a rock rabbi, I would do YMHA, and I would, it's like, young man, I say, young man, and I did something like that.
And that's a piece of you that still carries through. You would do that today too.
I mainly did characters, but I really didn't write jokes per se. And then I took a long break after 1980 because stand-up is hard. You got to be serious and dedicated and focused. And I was lazy, immature, and no motivation. So I stopped for a long time. And then in 2003, in July, my family went on a cruise, and Sal Richards was the comic on the cruise. And I was just so motivated. He passed away recently. And I was so motivated that after that, like in October at the New York Comedy Club on October 12, 2003, I started again.
And that's so you're coming up on 20 years almost.
Right. So I consider that really my first time really getting into it. And my first joke is one that I actually still do today, but it's taken on a life of its own. It's my bit on open mic night.
Okay, let's go for it. I want to hear it.
Right. It's so it's like it's a minute. Should I do it?
Yeah, do it. Do the joke.
Okay, of course. So anyway, the way I set it up my act is I purposely tell a groaner joke so that people will go groaner, and then I go, hey, listen, everybody, look, if you want to try doing comedy, all you got to do is go to any comedy club on what's called open mic night. Are you familiar with this It's an amazing concept. Anybody, and I mean anybody, can get up on stage for 5 minutes and try to be a comedian. Now, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be scary if other jobs offered the same opportunity? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Long Island Jewish Medical Center. It's the first Thursday of the month, which means it's open heart surgery night. I'm your host, Dr. Aortowitz. Tonight, all patients have a 2-valve minimum. Let's see, our next surgeon tonight is a middle school janitor from Ronkonkoma, Long Island, Wolfgang Schmidt. Wolfie's going to be performing a triple bypass on Sadie Goldberg. Now, tomorrow night at Gutterman's Funeral Home is open casket night. And
that's great. That's a great deal. It's great. There's so many incarnations of that joke that you can do. You can do with any job.
Right.
It is a great joke. I would imagine people steal from you.
Yeah, I've seen some variations on it.
I actually heard a story from a comedian we both know, and I'm not going to name names. He's told me a story about another comedian who took a joke from him, and then he confronted him about it, and the comedian said to him, "Oh yeah, I just like that joke." At least he admitted to using it, but it was like, yeah, I just like it. But and it's a joke that would only work on Long Island too. It's not a joke that could work somewhere else. But I want to ask you some sort of different sort of questions now.
Okay.
Let's say you were on the run and you had a bag of money. Where would you hide it?
Where would I hide it? I would probably hide it in the freezer of my refrigerator, because then whenever I would sneak ice cream in the middle of the night, I would be able to count it and just.
Okay. So you sort of want that. I imagine, what's it? Scrooge McDuck loved his money. Scrooge McDuck. Remember Scrooge McDuck? That's what I imagine. Yeah.
Actually, more realistically, I'd probably hide it in my managed Fidelity account.
Right. Of the Cayman Islands.
That probably makes a little more sense.
Okay. I like that. If you had a superhero power, what would that superhero power be?
This is going to sound really cheesy and corny, but the first thing that comes into my mind is peace on earth and to get rid of sickness and disease. That would be my superpower.
Wow. Okay. You can only do that once, though. Like, you do that once, and then it's like you've used your superpower and you've accomplished the thing. So you would need, like, any hero needs a villain. So you'd have to find one.
Well, actually, the one time would be the villain would be existence itself, right? And God would be putting, disease and war and plagues and all this. And then all of a sudden, one person that was dying of cancer would go, look, up in the air, it's a bird, it's a plane. And I'd go, it's super peace healer. And then I would just go, boom, and then done. So that would be my one shot. But remember, if that one shot would be existence.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's very selfless. And at the same time, you're helping.
Think doing this interview. What is this? I was going to sing a song and tell a joke, and now you have me talking existential.
Yeah. Sartre actually said of the same thing. No, I'm not going to quote Jean-Paul Sartre or Paul John Sartre, whoever it is. Doesn't matter. He doesn't exist anymore. What would you say, or where do you think comedy is going? What would you say about the whole comedy changing? Or do you feel, maybe you don't feel comedy has changed much, let's say from 1979, when you were getting on those stages at Comic Strip?
I think that the main way that comedy has changed over the years is really that there's just more of it in more unlikely places. In other words, before comedy, I would only think of going to a comedy club or seeing someone on TV. But now you can just, like, anywhere. I mean, before the pandemic, now, yeah, you can on Zoom and all the virtual, but, you got restaurants, bars, parties. Correct me, maybe I'm wrong, but years ago, I didn't see that there'd be like a comedian like at every, anywhere you go.
Oh, there's so many shows on any weekend. And to boot, there are like too many people on all those shows, almost all of them. To say all is a blanket statement, but I don't know that audiences want to see 10 plus of the same thing. You need variety is very important when people come to see a show. 10 comedians who are only doing stand-up comedy, the audience numbs after probably about a half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah, it can be a little long.
It can be. Sometimes it's 20, 30. I was on a show where there were 38 people on it. And it was a mic in an effort to gather people to do a bringer, but like 38 people.
38 comics. All right, you're up next. I'll light you in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I have 2 minutes left? No. At the 2-minute mark.
Right. Okay. I actually did a 3-minute show that I think Rob Chiaffi does. Sure. Okay. And I did the 3 minutes on that, but I think I actually did 4. I looked at it again and I was trying to be so conscious of just doing 3, but no one told me anything. No one said I went a minute over. I feel terrible. I really don't. Is there anything that you're working on? Do you have any shows coming up? Are you singing? I would think there would be events that you're singing at, even online.
Yeah, I do. I have a library comedy show coming up, but one thing that I was doing more and more of before the pandemic, and I have on a Christmas Eve, I'm booked at a temple. It's the holiday show, and what else do Jewish people do on Christmas Eve? We don't have Santa Claus coming, so anyway, and it's going to be an hour of me doing stand-up comedy and music. So it's really like, I love when I can do my full one-man entertainment show. Like I'll sing some songs, I'll break into stand-up for like 20, 25 minutes. So like I'll get, and I can come back and sing a serious love song or a motivational song. So I'm into just getting all every emotion that when people leave the show, they've laughed, they've cried, they've thought, some people probably vomited a little bit, but a little bit of everything.
On the same note, I was doing a production of a show called The Reindeer Monologues, and it's a harsh show about Santa Claus and how he abuses his reindeer, and it's monologues from the reindeer's point of view about Santa, and it gets really dark at points, really, really dark. And we would do Sunday shows at Arena Players for like geriatric centers that would bring a bus of people to bring them in. And one of them is so dark, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the monologue, but one of them so dark that a lady had a heart attack during it, and during my monologue, she had a heart attack and had to be taken out in an ambulance. And it was like, oh my God, I don't want comedy to kill anyone. I was
just going to say, you almost killed.
I almost killed that night. In our last few minutes, I know you have another presentation for us.
Yes, I would. I thought I would like to sing. I'd like to sing another song, and this is just a positive, upbeat, feeling good song. It was originally from the Broadway show, The Roar of the Grease Paint.
And the Smell of the Crowd.
Yes, and it was written by Leslie Bracus, and I'm Les Degen, and I guess a lot of people popularized this. Michael Bublé is probably the latest one to do that. So I figure, and thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, Les, it's been great having you today, and you're one of the funniest people around, and you're a really talented guy. Okay. I really do think you're one of the best joke writers. You write turnarounds really, really well, and I think it's one of my favorite things about you, and I'm very glad to know you, and I look forward to hearing the song.
All right, and hugs my brother. All right, this one is called Feeling Good. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Watch this move. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonflies out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. Whoop. What happened? I turned it off.
Quick fix.
For me. Ladies and gentlemen, the Les Degen Orchestra.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the law offices
of home,
Degen and Degen. Les Degen. This is such a great song. One of the best.
This has like an amazing big finish.
Oh yeah, no, I know it's coming.
The stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, It's a new day. It's a new life. It's a new life. A new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I feel so good. I'm feeling good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Les Degen, thank you so much.
DB.
Thanks for tuning in to Welcome Back to America. I'm DB.
Thanks,
Frick.
everybody.
Les Degen rocks. Check him out. Google him. Les Degen.
Love you, my brother. And I was only kidding about the no homo part. I'm
Oh.
no homo. No homo.
Writing a book is the adventure of a lifetime. Red Penguin Books take pride in giving our authors a publishing experience that is stress-free and celebratory all the way. Some of our authors first approach us with no more than an idea for a book that's ready to sprout. Others submit completed manuscripts. Whether you're at either end or anywhere in between, our goal is to get you published. At Red Penguin Books, we offer options and opportunities that are unique in the world of publishing, and all of them are designed to keep you, the author we so deeply respect, in the driver's seat, unlike other publishing houses. So, if you want to write a book and are looking for a publisher, we've got you covered. Red Penguin Books deal in publishing services, book development, and ghostwriting for digital, print, and audiobook. Call us at 516-448-4993 or visit our website www.redpenguinbooks.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Welcome Back to America. I am DB Frick, and we have another great show for you tonight, another great interview. I've known this guy, very funny man, for over 20 years now. And I actually think I might have been there when he first got on stage, and we're going to actually talk about that for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been on such sitcoms like Kevin Can Wait. He was a regular on that. People probably most well known for that. He's been in movies like Gender Bender, which is a very popular movie, very well known on Amazon, all over the place. I'll take that out if you want. I'll totally edit that. It really was a funny movie. There were many funny things about that movie.
It was, you know what? It was a great bunch of guys.
Yeah, it was a great bunch of guys. It was sort of had like what National Lampoon was trying to do in the late 70s. And but I have to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Brian Roach, one of the funniest guys around, one of the most laid back guys around. We were just talking about that. Yeah, I've got people over here. I told them to be very quiet because I'm talking to a very important person.
Quiet down. What's the poster behind you? I'm trying to read it, but the lighting is...
Mae West, Every Day's a Holiday. She has a mustache because mustaches are funny.
Mustaches on women are always funny.
Always funny, yes. I had it on Marilyn Monroe, but she got mad about it. And then I put it on the bottle. I have a lot of things I want to cover. And one of the first things I like to start with is what first got you on stage? Where did you get on stage? Now, I remember vaguely it being at the brokerage the first time that you got on stage. And I think I was there.
Oh, no, it's McQuarrie. By the way, am I too bright? I can drop my shade down here. Am I too bright?
You're good. If you want to lighten it, if you feel better lightening it, we could work with some light. Yeah, play with that. Change the light.
I don't mean to put my crotch in your face, but hold on.
No, that's all. That's the only reason I'm doing this.
I have no pants on.
That's nice.
What do they call that? Donald ducking?
They call it Jeffrey Tubing now because that New York Times guy.
Oh, I saw that. That guy that was didn't know people were looking at him.
Yeah, I cannot doesn't make sense. But
that's
whatever.
Great. And now I have a light here.
It'd be funny if you came back and you looked like completely different. Like that's like very Ray Bradbury.
Oh yeah, if I came back and I was like
a woman,
had blonde hair.
Yeah, a woman and like just.
I think that's a little better.
Yeah, no, you look great. Oh yeah, that is better. That is great.
You know, it's like certain times of the day, and I'm trying to get into voiceovers, so it's like,
Always, yeah.
The only thing is, like, my house is like right by a stop sign, so it's like I have to like talk and then pause and wait for it to stop. And
Voiceovers is a very, very small community of some of the nicest people in the business.
Great people, and they're always open to newcomers, asking them questions, which is really cool.
I've met. I actually met with the guy Bob Bergen, many years ago, who does Porky Pig, and I got to audition for him. One of the nicest guys in the world. It was great.
You do voiceovers, don't you? Do you do voiceover?
I've done them. It's not like I'm successful at all in them.
Right.
I do a lot of radio work where DJs call me and we do a sketch. We improvise a sketch. I do like hundreds of those a year. Those are a lot of fun.
I got you.
That would be great if by the time you finally got the lighting right, I was like, all right, great, Chris, it's nice to be with you today.
I'm trying to get a little, there we go.
I think that looks best. That looks now, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Very Zoolander.
And I just got out of the shower, which I sweat for the first hour when I get out of a shower.
Oh, me too. It's like, why do I even shower?
Right. And then I go on stage and I sweat for the whole time. And
yeah, we live a very sweaty life. We both do. We do both.
Like, you know, the comedian, what's his name? Craig Robinson.
Of course, yeah.
Love him. He's so funny. And he always says, he said in an interview, he goes, I'm either sweating or about to sweat.
Yeah. What's it? Kevin James has a great joke about like he comes upon people sweating and like, what were you just doing? To running? And he's like, no, I was just pulling orange.
Like when I opened for Kevin, he was like, you know, he probably thought he sweat until he saw me. He was like, Jesus. Like one time I left my sweat towel on stage and he's like, right in front of the whole theater, he picks it up and goes, Roach, you want to come and get this, please?
I think these are the kind of things that might stop bookers asking comedians to come to clubs because they don't want people to sweat in their green rooms.
Oh my God, yeah.
Have you, so where was that first place that you got on stage?
So the first place, I remember meeting you, well, my first show was with, you know, Rich Walker and Peter Bales and Steve Lazarus, Stand Up University. Right. It was it was July 13th. I remember that's Chris Monte's birthday. July 13th of 2003.
Okay.
And it was a graduation show. And it went, first of all, I started doing comedy because I was trying to like get over a public speaking fear, which I had a bad public speaking fear. And I always liked making people laugh. So I remember I was working at Tommy's place in Port Jefferson doing bouncing. And I remember the next night after my show, which was such a success because it's filled with family and friends, the place was packed. They told me to do 5. I think I did 7 and it was phenomenal. I remember going to work the next day, like, I can't work here anymore. I'm a comic. I can't, you know.
Right.
And then I'm going to drop a lot of names here today. Billy Bingo.
Of course.
Who really helped me out. He's one of the first guys that helped me out. And he put me on a show like 3 days later. He had an open mic at McGuire's and I went up with the same material and I was done in 3 minutes because they weren't laughing. They didn't know who I was. And I, as you say in the business, ate it. And I remember Billy running up on stage. He goes, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. I finished, you know? And then I said, when I went home and licked my wounds, I remember saying to my wife and my girlfriend, I said, I want to make a room full of strangers laugh the way my family laughed and friends laughed on that first night. I'm still trying.
Still trying. What, do you remember the first joke you wrote?
One of the first jokes, you know, they say write what you know. I'll tell you the first 2 jokes I wrote. Oh, can I curse on here? I'll
you can curse. You can say anything. You can say the worst things in the world. You
my first
here.
My first joke, and it's something I kind of like tweaked and made a different variation of now. But my first joke was like about being tall. I'm like, just one, because I'm 6'6". I'm like, just once I like to go to a movie theater, and when I sit down, I don't hear from behind me, fuck.
Tan Pablo, y hace más de 20 años me enamoré de una colombiana. Viajé a su país y conocí un estilo de café muy distinto, muy especial. Ahora tostamos cafés excelentes, con alturas y microclimas diferentes, resultado en una taza muy compleja y muy rica, un sabor nuevo en el mundo. Fue un éxito. And I even got to keep the girl.
Well, if you could have a superhero power, what would that superhero power be?
Superhero power. You know, I used to love the Wonder Twins. Or the Wonder Twins.
Form bucket of water.
Yeah, one guy's like, and my sister and I used to play that. We used to fight each other, and she was like, shape of a big blob of dough, and I go, shape of a rolling pin, and I'd roll over or something like that. I always like the like a shape shifting. Would you call it?
Sure, that would be powerful.
Painless shape shifting, because sometimes in movies it looks very painful.
Oh God, yeah. I was watching Black Panther yesterday. There's a little bit of that sort of concept in there, and I'm like, oh God, I never want to drink the thing that makes me.
Yes, and like you look at like any werewolf movie when they show the transformation, looks excruciating. I saw The Howling.
That's a very well done transformation. Yes.
For that time period.
I think that's Rick Baker did that. Yeah.
For that time period, and it's still like it's one of those movies that stands the test of time. It's still a great movie.
Sure, I can see it right now. I can see the growth of it, and they use that same process in American Werewolf in London.
Same thing. That one scene with the Creedence Clear, it's the Creedence song, and he's like,
yeah, it's a great piece. It's a great piece of that movie. You're someone who has been on television for a little while. You did a very, very popular show, still popular, I believe. A lot of people still talk about it. It'll always be remembered in the history of sitcoms. But you were on Kevin Can Wait, Kevin James sitcom. Do you remember you were on that, right?
I thought you were talking about One Life to Live when I was the mental patient.
Oh, did you also do that? Were you on One Life to Live?
I was on One Life to Live, and I was on like 4 or 5 episodes. I played a mental patient.
That's awesome. I'd rather talk about that.
Well, I wasn't speaking at first, and it was I think it was my first acting gig. And I remember driving, I was on the Long Island Railroad going into the city. It's my first acting gig. So I'm looking at my lines on the way in, and all of a sudden the train stops because somebody on the train in front of them, somebody jumped in front of the train.
Happens a lot on Long Island Railroad, yeah.
And we were especially around the holidays, and we were stopped at Hicksville, and I remember thinking, like, why me? And then I said, wait a second, why me?
Right.
How about this poor person who, life was so bad? It changed, the perspective of everything. But anyway, I went there. I showed up late because I called them ahead. I called them, told them what happened. I showed up late, and they were like, thank you. They were so nice when I got there, which I wasn't expecting. And they said, no, you don't understand. Sometimes we break for lunch and actors don't come back. I was like, what?
Really?
Actors don't come back from lunch. And it's strange, but that was a great experience.
I've done extra work where I was hiding because the conditions were so awful. I shot a Super Bowl commercial once, and it was like we were sitting in the stands and it was below 50 degrees.
Oh.
And I was like, I can't do this. And that was just like the wind chill factor felt like 50 degrees. It wasn't 50 degrees below.
Oh yeah.
Very cold. It was freezing, and we were supposed to act like it was summer. So I was like, I can't do this.
How funny is that?
We were at the Meadowlands, so I got to know the back of the Meadowlands.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, those are the days.
You reminded me my first commercial was for Panasonic, and it was for a Panasonic vacuum. I remember it running on some of the networks, up in the 30s and 40s, those channels. And I remember it was during a heat wave in August. It was a heat wave, and I was wearing like a teal colored or bluish t-shirt, and they had me wear a t-shirt underneath that, and that t-shirt was lined with ultra thin maxi pads.
Oh, to absorb your sweat.
Absorb the sweat, because I was sweating so much. And it's like a hot the crew was going home sick. If like we were there for 5 days, the
Not
crew
because of
was
your
going home
sweat.
sick.
You're not suggesting that it was because of your sweat
What's that?
that the whole crew left. Is that what?
Not because of my sweat. They were getting heat sick.
Oh, okay.
They left. They couldn't stand looking at my maxi pads anymore. Like this is. Woo!
Yeah, it's a weird. But hey, man, it works. I can see why that would work.
Yeah,
Chris.
I think I still look pale. Hold on.
Oh, you gonna put on some white face? There you go. Now we're back. Christopher Brian Roach, I really appreciate you coming down today, all the way to your office to chat with me. You're a great conversation. Yeah, I know. It's so we can talk off the record more, but there comes a point where I have to edit so much of it that I have to fit this in an hour of other segments. I produce this like Conan O'Brien. I try to do this in different segments where I have sketches. I did a sketch last week where I was trying to eat a sandwich to be funny, and a cop comes in, and Frank Valia comes in, and he's like, he's the comedy police, and I get arrested. So I get taken out. And then we did another bit with, we have a new intern, but we treat him real poorly. So we showed pictures of how poorly we treat the intern. Then I had a guy play Ernest Hemingway because I wanted to fire. The writing had gotten so misogynistic that I was like, we got to fire that new writer, Ernest. So Ernest Hemingway comes in. I'm like, look, and I fire Ernest Hemingway from a writing staff. So we have like funny things like that. And then I do the interviews and going to do some Christmas stuff. But yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. What are you working on? Talk to the let us know where the audience can see you, and what do you do?
I think I'm in Jersey on Saturday.
Where's that? Where in Jersey?
That's a good question. You know what it is? Like sometimes like I write these bookings down and I wait for the email on Monday or Tuesday to come like, oh yeah, I'm in Jersey. I know I'm in Jersey. I think it's a winery.
Oh, that's nice.
Valencia, maybe? I gotta look it up.
Are you a sommelier?
I am not. I know a sommelier, but I am not a wine drinker whatsoever. I am a Heineken light drinker.
Yeah, I'm more of just a straight whiskey bourbon drinker. Yeah, so that's how I keep my skin so.
Yes. Olive shade, very nice.
It was great talking to you, man. You're always
brother. Good seeing you again.
You're always a hoot, and I hope we see each other next time. I hope we see each other on set, and that should be any month soon. So,
soon? Are you taking the vaccine?
Immediately, no. I'll wait a few months, and
that's what I'm thinking.
It's gonna definitely wait throughout the winter and definitely the spring. See how the numbers go.
See if anybody grows like an extra appendage or something like that. Or
maybe it'll make me funny. Wouldn't that be funny if the vaccine makes everybody into a comedian? That's what it does.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny, stupid little angle. See, that's why we should hang out more. We come up with such funny stuff.
It's a great idea.
Be Godspeed to you, and keep in touch. And we'll let you know when this is posted. This is Christopher Roach, Chris Roach, a.k.a. Christopher Brian Roach, a.k.a. Christopher Brian Roash, as the online names say. This is Welcome Back to America. I'm D.B. Frick. Stay tuned after these messages for more.